Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about Dover Beach, a famous poem by Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold had written this poem when he was in his honeymoon, most probably with his newlywed wife at Dover. And then at first he started to talk about the beauties of nature. While he was thinking about these beauties and romanticized versions of nature, he also tried to listen to use William Wordsworth's words to the sad music of humanity, and he becomes more philosophical in the next parts, in the second part actually of the poem. So he begins with counting the beauties of nature and also addressing and inviting his beloved to watch the beautiful scene with him. But as the poem goes on, he becomes deeper and more serious subject matters are introduced into this poem. While reading Dover Beach, we will see the systems used by the poet, like Enjambment and Caesura. I'm going to introduce these two techniques at the end of the poem, so stay with me till the end of this video. Here you can see Dover. Dover is a place from which you can see France. It is maybe the closest part of England to France, and they could actually sometimes see across the channel. And also Dover is famous for its white beaches, the color of the sand and the rocks and the cliffs there is white, so it is unique maybe to this area, and many tourists visit this place for this reason. And in this poem, the white sands of this place is also mentioned by the poet. So these are some photos from that place and its landscape. And now let's move on to the text of the poem. The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window, sweet is the night air. So he believes that this nature is very specific tonight, and he asks his beloved to watch the scenery together with him and just check out the stops and the continuous readings. Like the sea is calm tonight, full stop. The tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the street. So I'm forced to read the last word of this line together with the first word of the other line, and in this way these two lines are connected. And when we talk about the French coast, to show the distance, the poet has used a semicolon. So just check out these nuances in the poem, because Arnold was conscious in with awareness using them in the poem. Uh, there are full stops and there are enjambments or continuous readings. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, the moon-blanched land, blanche in French means white, and also we have the mentioning of the French coast, so there is a kind of connection, thematic and lexical connection in the poem. The moon-blanched land, because of the white cliffs of the area. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves drove back and fling at their return, up the high strand, begin and cease, and then again begin. And he's talking about the movement of the waves and the movement of the paddles and the grains of sand alongside the waves of the sea, and we see also the motion and the movement of the wave represented through these words: begin, like the wave, and cease, and then again begin. So we have wave after wave when watching the sea, and here he tries to give us that picture with tremulous cadence, slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. The eternal note of sadness in this line actually marks turning point of the poem where he starts to talk about more philosophical ideas and philosophizing life rather than just talking about the natural scenery. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. There is a wide distance, historically, temporally, and geographically, between the ancient Greece and 19th century England, in which the poem is written. But Arnold here thinks that the sound is the same, the sound of the sea is the same. And Sophocles, the great ancient dramatist, has heard the same thing that he is now listening to tonight. Into his mind, the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. And the movements and the shapes of the waves reminded him of the difficulties and eases of life. So Sophocles thought so, and now Arnold is talking about them. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. So from the Aegean to the northern sea, from ancient Greece to modern or 19th century England, the waves are just talking or are just talking with us, and they are bringing or showing us something about life. And then he talks about something else. A new subject matter is introduced in the poem. It's not just about the human misery and ebbs and flows of life, rather, it is also about faith. Matthew Arnold was one of the people who was worried about the decline of religion in 19th century and the breakdown of the relationship of the people and the church. For many reasons, the Church of England was questioned. You can listen to my slides on Victorian era if you're interested to see why religion is declining at this time. But to sum up, we can say that the introduction of higher criticism or the introduction of the theories of Darwin and other biological theories, the introduction of new astronomical sciences and things like that changed the condition of religion. Man was no more the center of the universe, and we can say the human face to Christianity was not the central idea or the ideology of the time. People were doubtful about religion. Religion was no more the social cement. And Matthew Arnold, not for the sake of the church or for the sake of the institution of religion, rather for the sake of the society, thought that the faith should remain because if they don't have anything to unite them together, they would turn into anarchy and the society's backbone would be damaged. So he's now talking about the sea of faith. The sea of faith was once too at the full, and round earth's shore lay like the folds of bright girdle furled, like a belt in the faith had just enveloped the earth, and everyone he means metaphorically believed in religion or they were faithful. But now I only hear a melancholy, long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast edges drear, naked shingles of the world. Now the sea of faces is withdrawing, is getting away, is getting back. So the shingles and the pebbles and the sands of the underwater are now shown. So religion is not anymore enveloping. The religion is not engaging, and this is problematical. Ah, love, let us be true to one another. Once again, he addresses his beloved. For the world which seems to lie, and he's not going to talk about a beautiful scenery or a romantic idea. For the world, he's talking about the ugliness of the world. For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, has really neither joy nor love, nor light, nor certitude, certainty, nor peace, nor help for pain. So this is a dark world in which, and a dark age in which we're living. And we are here as in a darkling plain swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies crash by night. This part of the poem, the last part, is somehow predictive of the next century's events, like the two world wars and the armies which were blindingly actually fighting against one another. And in this way, the poem ends. I hope you have just noticed the places of markers such as colons, semicolons, and commas in the poem. And with that knowledge, now let's go to see what is an enjambment. An enjambment's other name is run on line. When actually one line's reading runs into the next one, or we can say incomplete syntax at the end of a line, which is going to finish in the next line. The meaning runs over from one poetic line to the next without terminal punctuation. So there is not a comma, semicolon, or exclamation mark, a question mark, a period, or something at the end. Lines without enjambment are called end stop lines. So we have two types of lines. Either they end grammatically, syntactically, and they are called end stop, or they are just their meaning is incomplete and also their syntax, and they are in this way called enjambment or run-on lines. And let me also briefly talk about caesura. Caesura was a common technique in the actually Old English and Middle English poems, but today it is used with more awareness on the side of the poets. So it is not as favorite as it was in the old times, but it is still used. Sometimes it is written with other ways of spelling. It is Latin for cutting, and uh, in modern verbs, a pause near the middle of a line. When there is a pause, most of the times shown either by a comma or a semicolon, is intentional. It is going um, uh, to address a subject matter or to make you think more, or it's like this one in the case of the French coast. It wants to show a distance between the location of the poem and the location just mentioned. So these were my explanations. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope I can see you in my next videos. Thank you very much, and goodbye.